What's up, everyone? It's your boy Carcino here. Let's talk about it. There are many people out there in the world very curious as to what in the world is going on. You have many people in the world today that's out there that are confused. They don't know what to say or how to proceed. But the Diddy Combs trial hit a huge snag today. Very shocking reveal popped out today and just got everybody's mind going on after the judge gave instructions earlier this morning. I was very upset at the judge's instructions that seemed to be pro against Diddy. It seemed like the judge was giving instructions on how they can go ahead and find Sean Diddy Combs guilty, in my opinion. And I didn't like what the judge was saying. As they went to deliberate in the back, it seemed like something was brewing that shouldn't have been brewing at all immediately. You would think the jury had been deliberating before this even happened. How did they arrive at this precipice point? But the lascivious claims that was made at Sean Diddy Combs put a lot of things in a spiral. So what other people didn't know, that what we knew, was in completely different shock. From the people that was in the courtroom was talking about what had happened and was like stunned that it was going on this early. Like it's almost immediately when they went to deliberate. Now, yes, definitely hit the like button, people. I know you guys just got in here. Yes, we're going to go over all the facts. Because that's what matters in the case is facts. At least that's what they tell us. Now, as for Sean Diddy Combs, everybody talked about it. It got crazy. In his trial today, the juries came in and while they went to the back and the jury instructions was coming in, one of the jurors named Juror 25, they sent a note back saying that the 8 men and 4 women went there to make this decision. This is about 11:40 my time, 12:40 Eastern time, expressing concerns about, I think juror number 4 was the snitch. And that person decided to, they decided to go along and they decided to go ahead and make a decision saying we have an issue. Juror 25 isn't following your instructions. Now, juror number 25 is a 51-year-old. He has a European accent. He's a neurosciences, new molecular biologist, PhD. He lives in Manhattan with his partner. Now, they don't say it's his girlfriend. This is a person with a partner. And he works as a scientist. So this is a 51-year-old European man who has a partner. So let that sink in. When they say partner, You know what that means, right? So, this 51-year-old neuroscience microbiologist is not following the judge's instructions, according to one of the jurors who wrote a note back, juror number 4. But they don't know what it meant. So the judge told the panel to just keep deliberating for the time being. Now, Diddy, who's been held up there since September's arrest, he was seen smiling and chatting with the attorneys shortly before the note was read. And he's got The Power of Positive Thinking, the book, sitting in front of him. We don't know if he's reading it. It could be a prop. It don't even matter at this point. So the issue came out about an hour after they were sent to the back room. Well, the jurors must decide if he's guilty on 1 count of racketeering, 2 counts of trafficking, and 2 counts of transportation to engage. Right? So all of this deliberating. Well, juror number 25, we don't know what it is, but if that person is part of the Skittles crew, and don't forget to hit the like button. I know y'all just got here, but if this person is part of the Skittles crew, he might be used to this lifestyle. This juror number 21, he could be like, this is nothing wrong with this. This is just the party I went to last week. Juror number 25 may not find Diddy's habits of what's been going on. He might not find this thing wrong at all. Probably said, ew, these greedy sluts. They just want his money. They were all into it. And, ooh, that beefy hunk, the Punisher. Those pictures probably got him excited. Skittles crew band probably is like, I don't see a crime here at all. Only crime is these no good sluts that's in there. They go, she's a victim. Oh, no, she isn't. They were, we got a problem with juror number 25. He ain't following the instructions. Y'all instructions was to lock this man up because of his sexual behavior. That was what y'all instructions looked like. Not according to juror number 25. Juror number 25 is following a whole new list of instructions. Instruction number 1. I'm just saying, I'm not in the juror's room. No one is, except for them. We're responding to the note that came out of the jury room. See, the jury room went into deliberation, and juror number 25 came out swinging. Pun intended. That note came out complaining about him. They was like, just keep deliberating for right now. We're worried about juror 25 when we see it's time to worry about juror 25. So while they deliberating, a lot of people feel, Within the next 2 days, they will have a decision. Some might even think by tonight. Which is fine by me. And the reason why that is fine by me is because it's the right thing to do. 1. 2, and definitely hit the like button for this. We gotta get those likes up. While people are jumping down and celebrating, if they bend the rules and blur the lines this much, they can convict any American they want, meaning black, using the Diddy Combs trial as the precipice. They're gonna say, oh, well, we'll follow the case of Combs versus USA, Combs versus Ventura. We'll follow that case. You be taking a girl on a trip out of town, and guess what? She want to come for your money. All she got to say is, well, I never said it then when I went shopping and slept with him and had a good time, but he cut me off and got another girl. I didn't want to go on that trip, Your Honor. He made me go. What? He coerced me. I coerced you when I took you shopping? I coerced you when I took you to eat after? I was just trying to do what made you happy. See, it's what you call regrettable sex. They really don't regret it. They're mad now because they cut off. Almost all the people that testified had an axe to grind with Diddy, or they are already trying to sue for some money because Cassie sued. And they've had contact with Cassie after her lawsuit. Oh, I talked to her, but not about the case and her testimony. I just wanted to check on her and see how she and the baby was doing. Not to mention, they had a person tell a story that was very incorrect on the stand. Case should have been dismissed immediately, where the prosecution missed it on purpose or by accident. I don't know how you missed something that blatant, that they were lying. And the evidence proved Diddy wasn't even in town when this act took place, which means, in our opinion, somebody's lying. And that goes to the prosecution, or it's the defense, who knows? But somebody's not telling the truth. That's usually the case. Yeah, I mean, there's a chance he could walk if they call a mistrial. And didn't I call it a mistrial earlier? Isn't that exactly what I called it, by the way? I said, this is a mistrial. I called it long time ago. Because it's exactly what it is. This is exactly a mistrial. And what they shouldn't be doing is what they're actually doing. Dragging this thing out because the judge is a novice. And I just don't really believe, or where I believe it's bigger than that. It's bigger than the judge being a novice. It comes down to the fact of the judge not only is being a novice, that person is also telling the story on a slant. He doesn't want to be the one to pull the trigger. He doesn't want to be the one where the whole thing, everybody looks back at the judge. He wants the decision to be made by the jury. Like, the jurors made the decision, leave me alone. No, I wasn't happy with the process altogether. There were certain deliberations happening and some language that was used that didn't sit well with me. I didn't like how the defense didn't interrupt the prosecution when they was trying to land their plane, right? Didn't interrupt them at all. Right, didn't try to interrupt them one bit. Then after that, not interrupting them, the prosecution interrupts the defense constantly. After they went up there and made agreements, then the judge chose to flag them immediately for any little thing that they said when they could have did it on today. And reprimand Agnifino for launching his parade. Well, here's what people don't know. Kale's already got charges dropped from the whole suit. Now, what people didn't understand is in this process, there were many people who were, I don't know, you could say afraid or on the fence or however you want to word it. They weren't on board with how things were proceeding. Well, it becomes amazing when you can fix whatever you screwed up. This case should have been dismissed. They have no direct evidence to any of this leading to such egregious charges. They're going to make Sean Diddy Combs the first in the whole history, a black billionaire, right? We're going to strip down a black billionaire whenever they get into a situation. Oh, they're not done. Nah, they ain't done. Why would they be done? They know what they're doing. Look, it moves like this, y'all. And definitely hit that like button now. He's going to prison, see home. Look. If he's found guilty, do you know what's going to happen next? Let me tell you what happens next. They file an appeal. It goes before a judge, and the judge is going to dismiss this bull. That's exactly how I see it going. I see them saying he's guilty, even though he's not. Everybody cheers outside. Yeah, I told you he's guilty. Yeah. Then Diddy Teams files the appeal. It goes before a judge, and then they dismiss it. Diddy goes free, and it's on page 35. I've told people that's exactly how I see this going, because Diddy is innocent of all charges. This is BS. It never should have went this far. They wanted this dog and pony show to go on in the media, go on in the world, so the whole world basically, who are casual people, believes he's guilty. They haven't seen the trial. They haven't seen no evidence. I just did a poll on one of the news sites. 52% believes Diddy is being charged with domestic violence. 52% of the people that voted on that poll believes Diddy was being charged for hitting Cassie on the beat with domestic violence. 52%. And they just had hundreds of thousands of people vote. 52% is more than half. And that's just for the people that voted on the poll. 52% is a damn high number. That all this is going on, you believe Diddy is still getting charged for hitting Cassie. Right. And y'all keep thinking this is a good thing. This messes it up for you. This messes it up for every man in the world. And if you're a black man, be scared. You take a chick to the Maldives now, you trafficking. Y'all want to pop Molly together, you're a drug distributor. Like what? We both took a Molly and we both took a Xan. Oh no, that's distribution. Did she bring it with you? Yeah, she brought the pills with her. Oh, that's trafficking. Drug trafficking? Drug distribution? If they pull this off, one man getting a RICO for all of this, and all these people are cheering and jumping up and down for it. If they pull this garbage off, for the rest of the world, they can grab and scoop up any artist in the world, anybody on the streets, and charge them with federal crimes. What used to be state crimes now is now going to be federal trials. It's the most ridiculous charges I've ever seen at this high of a scale. And I don't know why people would think I'd be pro Diddy. There's no reason for me to be pro Diddy. I don't agree with that man's lifestyle. But listening to this trial, and y'all know I covered it every day. Every single day we covered this trial. And we knew one or two things, right? This man was either innocent or guilty. Going through it, we told you every bit of what happened in the trial. We told you all of what the judge, what the prosecution said, what the defense said. Right? We gave y'all word for word from the transcripts. Inner City Press was doing their thing. We gave y'all the complete rundown. We didn't sugarcoat anything. We didn't hide nothing. LeBron joining the Dallas Mavericks. Yeah, I've heard that. That was pretty hilarious. Yeah, well, that's how they leak it. So the judge gave these instructions. The instructions was a little slighted, in my opinion. Like the instructions that was being given was like so they could lock Diddy up. And I'm like, these instructions seems a little biased. Like, go ahead, well, if you say this part, and this part, you might can get a conviction here. Let's go over this again. And I'm like, really, dude? Is that your plan? All right. See what you on. Dude, like, well, you know, I see what I'm doing. I see what's going on here. Because the actual people who are involved in the case either are not going to follow the judge's instructions, don't care about the judge's instructions, only care about their own voices. And unfortunately, that's where the majority of them end up. Now, whoever this jury is, because juror number 4 might not be the one with the problem. That might just end up being the head juror who they put in charge of everything and decided to write the note. So this 51-year-old neuroscience they ain't gonna like, oh, he took a bribe. They'll do anything. Soon, if Diddy gets found, let's say Diddy gets found not guilty, right? Instead of them saying, well, they never really had a case to begin with, it's going to be Diddy paid somebody off. Diddy did this. Diddy did that. Oh, you know what Diddy did. Everybody knows Diddy's guilty. People have their own prejudice built up already when dealing with Sean Combs. So if you coming into this case with a prejudice already built in, you're not going to even care what the evidence say. You just want somebody locked up, and that's the wrong mentality to have, because that's the same thing they do to your black ass. When white folks just want you locked up because you black. You ever wonder why Diddy's name is mentioned in all these cases and files? Because they know that they can mention Diddy's name in all these cases and files. All of a sudden, he's responsible for the death of Tupac. He's responsible for the death of Biggie. Anything going on, they want to blame Diddy for it. They even let Eminem, a white guy, put that false narrative out into the public on the diss record, which they made the #1 streaming video in YouTube history. No, and don't nobody even care about Eminem like that. So how would Eminem have the #1 diss record on YouTube, most played video in YouTube history, kill shot? America don't even listen to Eminem like that. That man can't even sell 1 million records no more. But yeah, you want us to believe he has the the most watched song in hip hop history. It's like, get out of here. Dude can't even sell 1 million damn records. You hate that it was a black man deciding, I ain't gonna let y'all control me no more. And because of his behavior and sexual habits, and you showed them real power. You said, well, let's show this Diddy man what real power is. And they did. They went and showed the Diddy man what real power is. They said, this is real power. We got judges, we got prosecutors on the payroll. Because you know prosecutors are broke, right? They don't get paid like defensive lawyers. That's why the majority of them, when they smarten up, become defensive attorneys. Remember them in the OJ trial? Like I told you, Charles Darden is a defensive attorney now. First, he was prosecuting OJ. Now he a defensive attorney. And he was about to represent the guy that killed Nipsey. Until the whole town went against him, saying, oh, no, you ain't. And he had to drop the case because he would have been in trouble out there in LA. Marsha Clark got out of law, started writing books, talking about OJ. They got OJ out of jail. And once they got OJ out of jail, all hell broke loose. Right. And now all these people know this is a money trial. Watch how many jurors start doing interviews, start saying things, writing books. Anybody relatable to this trial is going to use this trial for money. Even the juror that got dismissed. Now remember, I told you they had problems with this trial last week before the feds came in and shut down the live stream. And they spammed up the stream. Now, while that was happening and going on, we had other scenarios on the table that you guys should look at and be informed by. We don't know what instructions that he didn't follow, that he did follow, the whole nine. We don't know. So because we don't know, other people decided they were going to make the decision for us. All because we didn't know. But we do know juror number 25 is a 51-year-old white man living in Manhattan who has a thick European accent. Now, lives in Manhattan with his partner. So that tells me that juror number 25 might be on the Skittles crew, where they play Yanni. Mm-hmm. Things are getting more and more crazy as we speak.
Minutes ago, jurors sent their third note of the day to the judge.
And right now, we're all just waiting and watching to see exactly what that note says. We know, meanwhile, this unfolded in the courtroom today. It's a sketch of Mr. Combs holding up a note to one of his attorneys, but it was a note number 2 from the jury that is causing quite a stir today. Jurors raising questions about one of their own.
Eyewitness News reporter Kimberly Richardson is live in Lower Manhattan now with more on this day of drama. Kimberly.
Well, you guys mentioned that third note. It came in roughly hour 5 of deliberations. Everybody's in the courtroom right now, and as soon as we learn more, we will bring it to you. But this morning, after the jury cleared the courtroom, Sean Combs and his family gathered in prayer, holding hands for a few minutes. At the end, they applauded and spoke for some time. Now, it's a waiting game. Monday afternoon, the matriarch of the Combs family, Janice Combs, left federal court in Lower Manhattan during a lunch break. Her son Sean's fate now in the hands of the jury. Day 1 of deliberations began at about 11:30 a.m. The judge reminded jurors they are the, quote, sole and exclusive judges of the facts. Once behind closed doors, the jury of 8 men and 4 women picked a 4-person who, roughly 70 minutes in, sent a note to the judge reading, quote, "We are concerned juror 25 cannot follow your honor's instructions," suggesting the judge speak with that juror. That person is a 51-year-old man, a scientist, who originally said he was familiar with the allegations. In the end, the judge said the issue was not of concern and directed the jury to continue deliberating. Considered one of the most successful producers in
Diddy, baby. Go ahead, Diddy.
prosecutors paint a much
So now they go from the news to trying to spin you into Diddy's guilty. Mm-hmm. Right. How you gonna lock this man up for being a freak? But anybody standing with him, they already tell them, don't stand next to this man. Don't be associated with this man. But this man who done things for you and helped you out in your career, the fact that all these people who was de facto standing away didn't want to get their brands. Even Young Miami should have showed up to the trial at least one day. Me, I find it a little disturbing because here's why I find it disturbing. It's disturbing to me because you have a situation that's in tow where you say there's all these people who co-contributed to the plan. Where are they? Co-conspirators, where are they at? If you say KK was a co-conspirator, why she's not on trial with Sean Diddy Combs? If you say D-Rock was a co-conspirator, why isn't he over there with Sean Diddy Combs? If you saying all of these people at the staff that he worked for, Combs Enterprises, who he had on salary, right, that would back up your case, he is the main boss. How you gonna have a main boss and you don't have any of the people that are co-conspirators? You had a drug mule arrested. All he had to say was the drugs weren't his. Where do they do that at? And he gets immunity? And this was the guy that was supposed to lock Diddy down when he said he only gave Mr. Combs drugs 5 times. I only gave him drugs 5 times. But he told you that wasn't why he was there. He did other things on the job. He got the job through Revolt. I didn't see you name Revolt in the lawsuit. I mean, going after the corporation of Revolt and name the person that was co-conspirating that got him hired there. The fact that that guy was a drug addict who was hopped up on drugs. Where are all the other drug dealers that y'all named in court by their drug dealer names? One Stop. Where's One Stop? Did he cut a deal with you? You don't have any evidence on one stop. So if you don't have any evidence to go after those people, how can you go after Sean Diddy Combs? How you go all the way past all the goons and jump over all the barrels, right? Slip off, get past all the bananas to get up there with Diddy Combs. Juror number 25, based on the information that's been submitted, says he has a partner. He lives with his partner in Manhattan, and he is a scientist. 51-year-old man lives with his partner, right? Only hear that word when it's the Skittles crew. So just me, based off the information, sounds like that person might be living with a same-sex person. They didn't say he was, but you take that into consideration and then look at what Diddy been going through, dealing with men, women, and all this stuff. This lifestyle probably don't offend him at all. He probably was like, you're judging him because of his sex. This probably dude who probably got whips and chains and leather stuff all in his house. He'd probably be like, that's just in my closet. Why are they treating him like a victim? It's these sluts. So jury 25 might be in there putting up a fight. Juror 25 might be in there raising some hell. Hit the like button up. Juror 25 in there probably raising some hell. We're like, I didn't believe that lying slut when they came out and she was wearing the blouse I got in my closet. Hey, I kid you not. Man, look. Well, think about the situations that's going on though. Everyone's pretty much like, huh? You know, they not really caught up to what's going on. So they wanted to know what was the difference with possession with intent to distribute. So the judges notice here. Possession with the intent to distribute simply means that a person possessing a controlled substance with a state of mind or purpose to transfer it to another person, since no one can read another's mind, the determination as a person's intent to be interfered from his or her behavior or any other facts or circumstances you find relevant to the question. If a person possessed drugs solely for personal use rather than the purpose of the distributing to them to somebody else, then the person did not intend to distribute the drugs. Exactly. So if Diddy's taking the drugs with the person, here it is. If a person possessed drugs solely for his personal use rather than the purpose of distributing them to anyone else, then the person did not intend to distribute the drugs. A small quantity of drugs standing alone is insufficient Insignificant. Oh no, it's insufficient. My fault. My damn eyes is going out. Well, I need to get sleep. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So now, yeah, exactly. Now, if you look at it, they'll tell you, however small, these things can support a finding that a person possessed narcotics with the intent to distribute them, as long as there's additional evidence to intend to distribute. Knowledge requires the government to prove that a person knew that he possessed narcotics and that his possession was not to carelessness, negligence, what it says, neglect, or mistake. If you find the person did not know that he had narcotics in his possession, or that he did not know that what he possessed was in fact narcotics, then you must find that there was no violation of federal narcotics law. Although the government must prove that the person knew that he possessed narcotics, the government does not have to prove that the person knew the exact nature. So they set the bar very low for distribution. No money even has to be exchanged. So if a person A gives person B a bag of blow after being asked for it, even as a favor, a person A might be found guilty of distribution. That is crazy. You see how they've changed these rules, and y'all just blow by all of it. And it was like he just what, shoved a pill in her mouth? But there's one fact that you don't understand that we're going to tell you about. It's called voluntary intoxication. That may negate the intent requirement of the RICO predicates. Because they voluntarily took the pills. So voluntary intoxication may negate the intent requirement of the RICO predicates. That came from the judge. That's why I say all of this is gray areas. Well, here's the thing that's going to mess the whole case up when it comes to Cassie and a lot of this. RICO has a 5-year statute of limitation. You must find that it continue past 2019. If you find that the government has not proved this beyond a reasonable doubt, you must find the defendant not guilty. So, Cassie, baby, You up out of here, baby girl. You are up out of here, baby girl. That's from the judge. The judge says RICO has a 5-year statute of limitation. You must find that it continued past 2019. If you find that the government has not proved this beyond a reasonable doubt, you must find the defendant not guilty. So the only person that they could have there is Jane. That's why they want to stay within the 2021 and talk about 2021. Diddy wasn't with Cassie. They was trying to squeeze that in. Like, no, they was still having sex at this time. They was, nah. Yeah, the judge told them don't blame Diddy for not, like that's not a part of guilt because he didn't testify. They said certain witnesses were permitted to be identified by subsidios. So that shouldn't bear on your evaluation of credibility. The defendant had no responsibility to testify, and he did not. You must not attach any significance to that. And they said, any notes you took are only for you. No outside reading. You are to consider only what was presented within these 4 walls of this courtroom. You may not communicate about this case, including on X, Instagram, or YouTube. If you see this, tell my deputy. The judge says, do not be swayed by bias, including implicit bias. These hidden thoughts can impact what we hear and see and how we will remember it. You will now retire to consider the case. Each one of you must decide the case for himself or herself. After deliberating, your verdict must be unanimous. If you are divided, do not report the specifics. Your foreperson will send out any notes, any verdict, any communication. But the courts should be in writing. The alternates do not have to be here. But give your phone number to my deputy. You may be called to replace a juror. You will be called when a verdict is reached. There's like, do not read any news report to this trial. If there were to be any, please accept my heartfelt gratitude for your service over the past 2 months, even more. My deputy will provide my personal contact info. I could give you a tour of the courthouse. Here's the verdict sheets. Only if you find the defendant guilty of count 1. Answer as to each predicate. Not proved or proved. Did sex trafficking involve sex trafficking of Cassie or Jane? Count 2, 3, 4, 5, not guilty or guilty. From now on, your schedule is your own. You will be provided meals. Now the marshal will swear you in. Now the jurors can head back to the room. So the government said, we object to including the subject lines of BlackBerry messages like, I am so horny. Me so horny. Me love you long time. So right away, they're all upset. And then Escovedo said, it's common for exhibits to include subject lines. BlackBerry messages are more accurate to emails than it is text messages. And the judge said, let's have only neutral lists go to the jury. I'll trust the parties to provide an appropriate laptop to the jurors. I'm going to stick around for a bit, but we'll stay here as long as they wish to deliberate. At the end of the day, we'll bring them in. Judge said, I appreciate how both sides in this case handle things. Anything before we adjourn? She said, no. Can we go to another floor of the courthouse? Judge said, just give me your cell phone number. So they were adjourned. He thanked them for everything they've done today. Then they said, Judge, we received a note from the juror that they have elected juror number 5 as their spokesperson. If it's signed by juror number 5 and there's an agreement on the laptop, it'll be taken to them. Now we have a longer break. So it was adjourned. So Diddy is still in the courtroom. Family members are in the second courtroom. Diddy goes back to speak with them, holding his hand behind his back. Now, jury notes Sean Diddy was taken back to the holding cell. People are typing away at their computers and laptops. Sean Combs comes back in the courtrooms with his lawyers huddled behind him. There's been a jury note. We have received a note from the jury that we have juror number 25, who we believe cannot follow your instructions. We would like to meet with the court about it. And the judge says, I suggest I ask for more information. So then they said, may we have a moment to digest what your honor has proposed? This is very sensitive. So Agnifino said, I suggest we just tell them it is early. You are just getting started. If there's a further issue, please let us know. And the government said, if we go that route, we suggest instructing the jurors it is important not to include any information about what is going on in the jury room. U.S. versus Baker. So the judge says, confer on a response. I'll stay here. It's 1:48. See if you come to an agreed upon note. I'll come back at 2 p.m. We'll figure this out. So they're going to figure it out, right? While still waiting in case AUSA Comey cited U.S. versus Baker, Second Circuit Court upheld removal of the juror who refused to participate in deliberations as required as her obligation as a juror, despite the rule of Thomas, right? At 2:02 p.m., they say, do we have agreed upon response? No, we do not. So Ms. Slavic emailed the chambers, do we have the defensive proposal? He said it will be in Mrs. Slavic's email. So if you ask me, there's nothing here to say it's RICO. And you have to accept that there is a criminal enterprise within an agreement first. So if you don't accept that there's a criminal enterprise to begin with, you can't even get to the RICO charges. So you would have to believe that Combs Enterprises, which have earned no profit from drug distribution or sex trafficking, is a criminal enterprise with no earnings. I just don't know how you get RICO. And that has to be within 5 years, from 2019 to now. How do we get to a criminal enterprise? This is unbelievable. In the history Yeah, it's nuts. So Diddy could be doing his Diddy dance at the crib. Go Diddy, hey, go Diddy, oh, go Diddy, oh, go Diddy, oh, get it Diddy, oh, get it Diddy, oh. Yeah. Diddy could be going home, baby. Yeah, well, a lot of people like the Houston Rockets are winning the NBA championship. Random, but I get it. Now, Candace Parker is there for her retirement jersey celebration. Um, well, hey, the world don't need to know what we doing. We handling business. No. Well, the jury, everyone thinking that the jury had this thing wrapped up in a day. It's not that easy. As I tried to tell people before, it's not that easy to convict a man and throw his life away. There's no direct evidence really to this case. So if you look at this case, you're saying to yourself, okay, I have no direct evidence, right? Oh yeah, definitely hit the like button up. Because if you have no direct evidence, an indictment is not evidence. If someone indicts you for something, it doesn't mean that there's evidence. See, it must be clear. An indictment is just simply a formal accusation. So once you get the charges from count one, which is from 2004 to 2024, that he operated a RICO or racketeering enterprise. But you can't use nothing in 2004. You can't use nothing past 2019 because it's a 5-year racketeering charge. It has to be within 5 years. So between 2009 and 2018, he's accused of transporting individuals, including but and not limited to Cassie, for the purpose of prostitution. So count 4 is out the door. From 2019 to 2024, they're trying to say the charge is sex trafficking of Jane from 2019 to 2024. So that's how they want to try to squeeze Jane in for that RICO. So I think count 4 is out the window. I think you don't even get to these counts because you'll have to agree that there's a criminal enterprise, which I don't see a criminal enterprise. Well, the judge said, as for the charge of attempt, the government must prove both intent and that the defendant took a substantial step towards committing the crime. Mere intention alone is not enough. That's in the favor of the defense. To find someone guilty of aiding and abetting, the government must prove that the defendant knowingly took some action to assist, encourage, or facilitate the commission of a crime. Mere presence or association is not enough. Now, for count 1 of RICO, the prosecution must establish that between 2004 and 2024, there was an agreement between 2 or more individuals to conduct a racketeering enterprise that affected interstate commerce. So from the first count, they have to determine if there's a criminal enterprise, or you can't even get to the other counts. Yeah, they said they must also prove that the defendant joined the conspiracy and personally committed at least 2 of these acts. Well, if they didn't, then no one would say anything, right? No. Mm-hmm. Then the judge says, yeah, they must also prove the defendants joined a conspiracy and personally committed at least 2 predicated acts. These counts could include crimes such as trafficking, sex trafficking, transportation for prostitution, and other offenses like under RICO statutes. The government doesn't need to show a formal writing agreement or written agreement. A mutual understanding to cooperate is enough. You may infer it in the existence of circumstances of chance. As the saying goes, action may speak louder than words. You're allowed to consider the behavior and acts of anyone you find to be a participant in the alleged enterprise to determine whether there was a shared plan of purpose. There were people falling asleep in the courtroom. One person was even snoring. Diddy is sitting quietly, focused and attentive. Behind him are 6 of his adult children in their usual seats. The judge says if you determine that Comb Enterprises existed, you must then decide whether it contributed in a substantial similar form from 2004 to 2024. The individuals involved may have changed over time, but continuity in structure and a purpose is the key. The judge said, regarding the defendant, you must also determine whether he knew that the enterprise existed and knowingly participated in it. Now, the 8 predicated offenses under RICO: kidnapping, arson, bribery, all 3 of them out. Witness tampering out. Forced labor out. Trafficking, they're going to go for that. Transportation to prostitution, they're going to go for that. Intent to distribute narcotics. All of that should be wiped out. But they have nothing until they get to the bottom 3. All the other stuff is out. Kidnapping is out the door. Arson's out the door. Bribery, get that out of here. Witness tampering, yeah, get that crap out of here. Forced labor, yeah, get that out of here. That's just some dressing. These are the 3. The intent to distribute narcotics, which should really be out of here. But they're going to gray area that. Transportation for the P. And then sex trafficking. That's where it's going to come down to. So to meet a legal requirement, the prosecution must find 2 of those offenses occurred within a 10-year period. Kidnapping is not considered kidnapping if the victim consented, but consent can be withdrawn at any time. Arson, right, under California law includes willful and malicious setting of causing a fire. Bribery of a witness occurs when someone gives or promises a bribe to a person giving or about to give information to law enforcement with the intent of unlawfully influencing that person. Let it be known, there wasn't any law enforcement present that works for the Intercontinental Hotel. Remember I said to law enforcement. Law enforcement. Plus, Diddy did not promise a bribe to anyone. He just said, hey, I'll help you out. He did not set a price. He didn't set anything. This person set a price. Says it's going to cost you $50,000. And he was buying a flash drive for $50,000, not bribing somebody for something. And then that person went and sold it when he had permission from both parties involved. It wasn't a Mr. Sean Diddy Combs. Cassie Ventura was on a FaceTime and also agreed to not have that video out. So bribery's out the door. That's not a crime. How is that a crime? If that's a crime, it's committed by the other person. The other person says, you be like, man, look, I'll take care of you. Like, you could say, hey, I could cut your grass. I could do anything. He didn't say, I'm going to give you some money, man. Look, man, I'll take care of you. I'm going to give you $50,000. He didn't set a price. They did. They trying to convict him on the text message saying, hey, don't spend all the money in one place. Like, don't spend all, like, good luck spending the money or whatever it said in the text. See, that's bribery. I'm like, these women are so out of their mind. I don't know what's going on with them, but witness tampering doesn't require the target to actually be afraid, or the existence of knowing a threat is enough. Forced labor involves the use of force or physical restraint. Consent, once given, can be withdrawn, turning a situation into a forced labor. Sex trafficking has the same legal definition as outlawed in counts 2 and 4. Transportation for prostitution is defined the same in counts 3 and 5. Regarding distribution of narcotics, including the substance named here, government must prove it has done knowingly and intentionally. Distribution means an actual transfer to another person. Prosecution doesn't require physical custody. Control over the substance is enough. For RICO, the statute of limitation is 5 years. Therefore, the government must prove the enterprise continued beyond 2019. If they fail to prove this beyond a reasonable doubt, you must find the defendant not guilty. One more time for they bad sale. So, this is where I have a hard time understanding people's narratives and motives and the way they move about handling business. You know, some will be impartial. Others will be pretty much complicit to everything that's been going on. We always just want it to be fair. Fair to the people that's paying all their money, listening to all of the situations and the charges. We just all want it to be fair. Because fair isn't what you've been receiving lately. Yes, but first, this is why it's so hard to get a RICO case. You have to prove it's within 5 years. That's one.
We didn't.
Mm-hmm. Well, what you didn't understand is in count 1, they have to agree that there is a criminal enterprise for they to even get to the other counts. So if they all collectively don't agree that there was a criminal act, guess what? There's no RICO. No Rico Suave, no Rico nothing. It's just done. Well, the narratives never change. Absolutely. No, I'll be giving you an update when that comes down, definitely. So if you go to the Patreon right now, we got the Prince stories. We dropped the first 3 in one day. So all my VIPs, y'all got the Prince stories jumping off right now. So it's been a situation that I feel that in many estimations, no, I'll keep you informed. Because when it gets to the nitty gritty, then everybody will know what time it is. So I'm out. Go to my Patreon, and we're done for right now. If anything changes, you know I'll be here, so check for it.